Right-handed from three. Hole comes soaring in again. This uncanny knack. And cashes in.
Is on the upper left wing. Just got inside, circles around, pure.
Game 3 of the Indiana Fever vs. Las Vegas Aces series wasn't a basketball game. It was daylight robbery. The Fever were leading. They were fighting. And then the whistle started. Suddenly, the Aces were at the line. Aya Wilson was throwing elbows. And Aaliyah Boston couldn't even get a fair challenge acknowledged. Gainbridge Fieldhouse saw it. Social media saw it. And the box score backed it up. Las Vegas didn't outplay Indiana. They were handed that win. And worst of all, it overshadowed a career-defining performance from Lexie Hull, who gave everything on the floor that night.
A'ja Wilson sets a screen where she extends her leg out, but of course they call the foul on Lexie Hull for A'ja Wilson's illegal screen. Then A'ja Wilson and Alyssa Smith totally foul Michaela Timpson, but there is no call. Could have took a 1-point lead going into half. Now we're up by 3 and they call a foul that isn't a foul. So we don't get calls when we're getting hit, but the Aces get a call when nobody touches anybody.
If you believe this team can bounce back, then say it loud. Because Game 3 was ugly, but let's not act like it was the first time Indiana had to fight two teams at once. From Game 1, the officiating leaned on Las Vegas like a crutch. The Aces clawed back at the free throw line while Indiana's physical defense was punished. Fever players stood tall, bodied up, played clean, and still ended up watching Vegas shoot free throws that set the tone up.
So why don't you think you were able to find any flow, and when that was the case, what are you trying to do to jumpstart things, maybe on the defense?
Well, it's hard for us to find flow when there's a foul call every 10 seconds. I mean, it just really is. And when they're at the free throw line, we can't get up and down the floor. And that's a challenge. They were much more aggressive and physical defensively. We didn't counter that with our off-ball actions or with our back cuts. So they took us out of our comfort zone. I mean, offense is about rhythm, it's about timing, it's about spacing. We allowed them to do that, and they kept us from doing it.
By Game 2, the imbalance got worse. The whistles came every quarter. Stephanie White even had to call it out post-game. It wasn't just frustration anymore, it became a drain. Every run was stopped by a call, every rhythm broken. And by Game 3, it wasn't a pattern anymore, it was a wall. The defining moment came in the third quarter. Boston was called for a foul on Jackie Young. White motioned for the challenge. The bench was ready. The officials didn't even acknowledge it. Seconds later, Chelsea Gray hit a 3. Indy's lead, gone.
A'ja Wilson is 1 for 12 as the foul is called on Boston, and that will be number 2 on Aaliyah Boston.
You saw Indiana picking up full court pressure defensively. If you're Aaliyah Boston, that's the one spot on the floor you do not want to get a foul called.
And Stephanie White is trying to challenge it and did not call the timeout in time. Gray in the corner. Connect!
The arena went from roaring to stunned. The crowd at Gainbridge exploded, waving arms, screaming, begging the refs to engage. But nothing, that one possession, that one ignored challenge, shifted everything. And it went viral for a reason. The clips showed flops, cheap shots, elbows, and none of it drew whistles, unless Indiana made contact.
2-minute recap from last night. So A'ja Wilson pushes Howard in the back. Howard pushes her in the back. It's a foul on Howard. Look at this. Aaliyah Boston gets totally fouled by Alyssa Smith. Like, it's obvious, but no call. And then A'ja Wilson gets the call for not half as much. And then Alyssa Smith gets the call for not even getting touched. Here's a replay just to prove it to you. Yep, didn't get touched.
Let's call it what it looked like. Favoritism. Aya Wilson could throw shoulders into Boston. Fever players were thrown to the hardwood without a whistle. Meanwhile, every bit of contact from Indiana was treated like a crime scene. The result? Not momentum built from talent. Momentum handed over by refs with whistles like weapons.
Offensive foul, practically a football check, and the Aces score. So now the Aces cut it to 2, and then A'ja Wilson sets an illegal screen and they tie things up, and then Lexie Hull gets called for a foul for doing nothing when they just had 2 illegal screens they didn't call. Alright, so this is fair. Same thing happens on the other side, but they don't call a foul for Kelsey Mitchell. So Aaliyah Boston gets called for this foul for for getting her arm grabbed, but Stephanie White can't challenge. They won't let her. That's the second time this game they didn't let her have her challenge. And then A'ja Wilson starts acting like a big baby.
What made Game 3 sting even more was that it should have been remembered for Lexie Hull's warrior-like performance. Hull wasn't supposed to be on the floor. She aggravated her back in Game 1. She was listed as questionable. She was stiff in warm-ups.
Boston has the mismatch on Lloyd. Help comes. Kick out. Hull will fire. And hit from three. Last two positions inside from Indiana. Smith tied up by Hull, and a jump ball between Smith and Hull.
But when the game started, she played like a star. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 6 of 10 shooting, 3 made threes, and every single one of those numbers came through pain. She dove for loose balls. She boxed out bigger players. She hit threes when Indiana had to have them. She tied a franchise playoff record for threes across 2 games. 8 total. That wasn't just production. It was heart. It was grit. It was everything Fever fans stand for. And yet, that effort got buried, drowned out by officiating headlines.
On the left side of the floor, just to clear out, letting Jackie Young go to work.
Jackie Young with 17 points. Boston to the corner. Hull catch, fire, and hit. Wreck Paul. Evans dishes. Ray whips a pass inside. What a denial from Lexie Hull.
The Hull able to save the play.
12-point game, a little under 2.5 to go. Hull hits Indiana's first field goal of the quarter.
Lexie Hull is the perfect representation of this Fever squad. Banged up, underestimated, but refusing to fold up. That's why it stings even more when you look across the floor and see Vegas getting bailed out. Their biggest star, the face of the league, couldn't get a shot to fall.
Back to Hull, wide open three is good.
The floor that she wants, doesn't it?
It does. Mitchell, connect. Here's Mitchell. Mitchell, one more. You bet.
Let's be honest, A'ja Wilson was ice cold. After hitting an early 3, she missed shot after shot, ending the first half 1 for 11 that she finished the night, 6 for 20 from the field, 13 points on 20 shots. That's not impactful in other ways. That's just bad. But you wouldn't know it from the media coverage. Instead of crediting Aaliyah Boston, who hounded Wilson into uncomfortable shots all night, many outlets downplayed Wilson's struggles or shifted praise to Vegas depth. That's revisionist history, because when an MVP candidate shoots 30% on 20 attempts in a playoff game, that's not an off night. That's elite defense. And it deserved more respect than it got.
And then here we go. She gets a foul called with a 3-point game for, I don't know why they called that foul, but it's the third quarter and they want them to win. So here we go. Ace is up by 3. They call another foul for A'ja Wilson that isn't a foul. All right, so then they call another foul on the Fever that isn't a foul. And then to end the game after it's out of control because the Fever had a 6-point lead, but they kept calling fouls, another foul for A'ja Wilson that's not a foul. Ball don't lie, A'ja missed 11 shots in a row during this game.
Let's be clear, Jackie Young was excellent with 25 points. Chelsea Gray stepped up. Players made plays. But the Aces didn't win because they outplayed Indiana. They won because the game tilted in their favor when it mattered most, while Lexie Hull was giving her all, while Boston was locking down the league MVP, while the Fever built leads with effort and poise. Officiating ripped that work away. Game 3 will be remembered. Not because Vegas took control, but because fans everywhere saw what happened. So if you're still riding for this team, if you still believe in what Hull, Boston, and the rest of this young core are building, then don't stay quiet.